Tech Gumbo back on your radio for another week of the latest in technology and technology solutions on Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I'm Darren Gaucher, and the reason I say technology solutions, because Gulf South Technology Solutions makes it possible. Haggai Davis and James Moak are here as they are every week. How are you guys?
Glad to be here.
Good. We're about halfway through the show. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can, probably where the most information is on our website at www.gulfsouthtech.com.
And on the phone?
Or they can call us at the office, 225-216-2169.
Email, how about that?
You can, Davis at Gulf South Tech is my email. Info at Gulf South Tech. Sales at Gulf South Tech.
All of these are on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
Smoke signals at Gulf South Tech. Find us. We'll
Telegraph.
talk. Telegraph.
Samuel Morse.
Carrier pigeon.
Scrolls, papyrus, it's all there. All right, data breaches, how to prevent them. You know, back in the days of the Dead Sea Scrolls, there were no data breaches. In fact, it took a long time for people to find those things. Now, people go hunting and fishing, pun intended, for data, and they can get it, including the unsuspecting victims. Over 90% of data breaches in the first half of 2014 could have been prevented if businesses rethought their cyber strategies, their risk cyber strategies, according to the Online Trust Alliance. Who are these people, and how do we nip this in the bud, as Barney would say?
Well, there's the Online Trust Association is a nonprofit group that's geared towards enhancing online trust and assisting businesses in their best practices and risk assessment. They've been around for quite some time. You know, their 2015 data protection best practices and risk assessment guides came out this week, and you know the organization talks about over the first half of last year, 40% of all the data breaches involved the loss of personal identifiable information, and it was caused by external intrusions, which means a lot of the data breaches were caused by internal breaches.
Aha!
So
you can't trust anybody anymore.
You gotta take care of your business.
Well, and those internal breaches, I mean, not only can they be employees on your team, but I mean they can be software, be malware and virus type software on the inside of the network that then sends the data outside the network.
Which, of course, how do you get that? They're all over the place on the internet. If you're surfing, it used to be the joke was, you wouldn't have viruses if you wouldn't go where you're not supposed to on the internet. But now, that's just simply not the case.
Right, because, I mean, they come in email. The phishing scams have gotten so good. The guys that are putting those things together, the emails look really, really good, like they come from American Express, or they come from Microsoft Exchange Online, or they...
I got a whole slew of, you've been registered for some Microsoft thing, and I thought, God forgive me. Damn it, Haggai, what have you signed me up for now?
Well, and you used to be that, you had to open up a video to watch it. For now, they've got these viruses embedded in PDFs. So you can open up a PDF and boom, you're done.
See, that was one of the whole purposes of a PDF, is that it was secure.
No, not anymore. Any kind of attachment is now an attachment. And inside that attachment, it can be anything.
A JPEG?
Sure, it's an attachment. Inside of they can embed code inside. So when you open up that attachment, that picture, that JPEG, that PDF, that video, whatever, that even a lot of times the antivirus softwares don't catch, or the malware softwares don't catch, because they just have not seen that yet. And so when that attachment is opened, that whatever it is jumps on the computer and it runs down into the registry and it buries itself deep somewhere so that you can't just find it very easily. And then it just waits for that right opportune time to spew your information back out across the internet.
So not just exe files, not just zip files, not just click here and give your information. It's now conceivably anything from anybody.
Right.
because they'll take over an Outlook and send out messages to people, and you don't even know that they've taken over your Outlook
on your contact list. And we're seeing applications actually within Facebook as well.
Wow. So all those little quizzes, like I took one the other day, which guardian angel is yours? And I'm thinking, yeah, this is real scientific.
That's who signed you up for that email you got.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow. And there's no screening process at Facebook for these kinds of things?
No, because people are the bad guys are paying Facebook to advertise this stuff, and Facebook is just so big that they're not screening every ad that someone sells.
When you apps too?
When you posted
Right.
the last video or picture of you and your friends on Facebook, did Facebook, screen you before you put it out there?
No, of course not.
Same thing.
Wow. So what can we do?
Well, these guys have released some questions to ask yourselves and about for your company. Like, do you understand the international and local regulatory requirements to defend yourself? Do you know the specific attributes to maintain that you of the customer information that you have to keep? Do you know exactly what kind of security levels you need to have? How critical is the information that you're keeping?
And there's just basically understanding security, privacy, and notification practices of your vendors. Whether you're buying and reselling hardware, software, whatever you happen to be. Do you know what their processes are, and do you know how to communicate to your employees, customers, and stockholders, and the media if there's a data loss incident? Because in some industries that is required. Healthcare being one of them. If there is a data breach, financial services another.
Oh, my goodness.
You have to report it to the media, and you have to report it within a certain amount of time.
Look at Target. What happened with them? Home Depot.
Yeah, we talked about those guys last
week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're still feeling the ramifications of it.
And will for quite some time. And
wow.
And so, again, you've got to know if you've been hacked. You're a relatively small to medium-sized business here in Baton Rouge, but you have customers all across the country, and you have secure, sensitive information of theirs. And all of a sudden, you find out you've been hacked. What are your requirements to reach out to them and let them know? Oh, by the way, and because the rules, and we've talked about this as well, the rules here in Baton Rouge say, well, you got to do this, but that customer lives in Atlanta, Georgia, or that customer lives in Cheyenne, Wyoming. What are the rules over there say that's got to happen, and whose rules dictate? So, you got to be very, very careful about the information that you have.
It just seems like every time I turn around, there's something else that's knocking on the door, trying to get in, that I don't even want to pretend that I'm home.
Well, the OTA did put out some recommendations for enterprise.
Okay.
The first one, and this is one we talk about with our clients on a very, very regular basis, effective password management. You've got to have the right policies, and you have to enforce them, and the passwords have to change on a very regular basis.
I saw the list of worst passwords of 2014, and of course, number 2 was password.
Right, and number 3 is password, but it's a 0 instead of an O.
It's more than password; it's password plus. Wait, that's a game show. So, so how do you get a strong password? I know there are programs. I use one.
Right.
To generate a password, but we're talking longer, the more varied the characters.
Throw in a capital letter, use a symbol, a number, anything like that. Instead of saying, just instead of 1, type capital 0 in 3. And now you've just changed up. It's random enough to where now you've got a fairly secure, and it needs to be 8 characters or more.
8 characters.
And most passwords don't have a limit on the size, on the length of the password. So if you wanted to use a phrase, you could actually type a phrase in that you can remember, and and then take that phrase and either maybe a capital letter at the beginning of the phrase or an exclamation mark at the end.
This is the winter of our discontent.
But then
There
you've
you
got
go.
to type that in every time you have to go.
Exactly.
Right.
And then the inconvenience factor, and that's why people type, one of the top passwords has always been QWERTY, QWERTY, because that's the 6 keys across the top of the keyboard. And you know,
Too easy.
yeah, don't
You're
make it,
asking for it there.
please don't be that easy.
Okay. Like Sunday morning. Now, when we return, we will talk more about what's going on in the world of Haggai and James. Yes, they have a list of things that they want you to consider before picking up the phone and calling them, because they're very busy guys. But they know that you need help, most likely, if you're running a business. That's why Gulf South Technology Solutions is there for you. Once again, that phone number
225-216-2169.
and online,
At www.gulfsouthtech.com.
and every Saturday from 3 until 4 on Talk 107.3 FM. Stay with us.